Hey guys, Tyler Zombro with Tread Athletics, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about improving your fastball. So immediately when you think about a fastball profile, velocity and command probably come to mind right away. And we know velocity is super important with that. If you're minimizing the reaction time that a hitter has, yes, you're going to be more successful. And then command-wise, we know in prior videos we talked about vertical approach angle. We talked about how command is also so important in that metric. Being able to move the ball to thirds of the plate, up and down, etc. obviously will put you in a position to be more successful. But in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit more about alternative options if you've exhausted the velo and command kind of spectrum there, and where you can navigate to make this pitch more efficient and successful for you. With that in mind, there are a couple options that you have if you're really trying to figure out your individual fastball profile. So the first one would be carry, so promoting induced vertical break. These are the types of guys who are going to get more swings and misses on their fastball. It's going to play up in the zone a little bit better. You're going to see a lot of fly balls, a lot of pop-ups, and it's really that deceptive fastball that quote unquote gets on a hitter more than they would expect. Being able to carry the ball sometimes is promoting a higher axis, higher efficiency, maybe making sure the seam orientation stays true. And these are things that you can kind of tinker around with to see, is your ball flight staying more true? An easy way to play with this is in long toss. We find that if you are playing catch from longer distances, specifically long toss, you can see if your backspin is holding true. You translate that to a pull down effect. You can really see if you're kind of maximizing how you're throwing that ball in terms of matching plane for velocity with how you rotate, but then also making sure the ball is coming out of your hand the way that you want it to. After you've really seen your ball flight with long toss, especially trying to carry the ball, it's really good to take that and translate it directly to the mound. If you have the technology available with TrackMan specifically, since it's movement based, you're trying to look for something that's 18 plus in terms of induced vertical break. So after you finish up that long toss, you've done your pull downs, you're going to the mound, those are some specific metrics that you can look for. Another option that you have is actually playing cut to your advantage. We know a lot of times if a guy is cutting the ball, an immediate answer might be, we need to stop that. Can we stay behind the ball better to carry it? But sometimes cut can be advantageous. Again, we need to remember that we're always chasing where you individually can be an outlier. And if you can be really successful throwing the pitch relatively hard with some cut, we have to remember that's different from average. And if it's different from average, it can be successful. And looking at that, sometimes I think guys who are cutting the ball, they struggle playing long toss, they become frustrated, but really figuring out what kind of routine works for you to make sure that cut is translating to the mound. If you're using a TrackMan unit, you're trying to look for something that's inside of 5 horizontal, getting close to that 0 line. If you're on the 0 line with your fastball and it's not from a directly over the top slot, that could be alluding to some really elite cut for you. I wanted to also touch on the opposite of cut, which would be run. So arm side run, while we know having run is not a big indicator of swings and misses, it can minimize the quality of contact against. So if you're a guy who's been chasing after some carry, but maybe you're a lower slot and just can't really maximize that, playing arm side run can be advantageous for you. In addition, if you have TrackMan available with horizontal run, if you're pushing 18 plus inches of run on your fastball, that is an advantageous area to be in. You can get off the barrel in terms of either a swing and miss to the opposite hand hitter, or getting in on a guy's hands if it's hand on hand. I think doing that, you of course command being a factor with that as well, but running a fastball can still be beneficial. It doesn't always have to be elite carry or elite sink. Falling into a sink category, I think guys struggle to kind of figure out if they're a 4-seam or 2-seam guy. And I would advise you to really take your outcomes into consideration with that. Are you a guy who's not getting many swings and misses? Are you getting a lot of ground balls? And really push to where you're successful at. If you're a guy who wants to throw a 4-seam because you're throwing it harder, but sometimes you give up really hard contact, if you have a really good sinker and the velo might not be great, continue to build upon that profile and just make it better and better. You can make it better via the depth on the pitch or the corresponding velocity with it. If you have TrackMan available, we're looking to be below 10 vertically with that. So that's a little bit of an overview of options that you can have on a fastball. Again, take all of these things into account. Think, where can I be an outlier? How can I make this better? And that's ultimately applicable across all levels of baseball. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.